Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 14, Chapter 34, Discrimination and Detachment, Part 1 of 2. Discrimination and detachment are the first and second steps that man has to take in order to reach the eternal, Atmic, spiritual truth. The mind can be steadied only by the mastery of desire, the quality of unwavering detachment. Once the mind is still, peace reigns and bliss prevails. Detachment, or the giving up of the tendency to pursue whatever attracts the mind, is often misconstrued as asceticism, which renounces social and family life and escapes into the loneliness of the forest. But it involves more than anything else awareness of the basic blemish in all material things. Without this inquiry and this discovery, all claims for detachment or renunciation are slippery. No one can have real detachment in their absence. The sense of dislike that results from the recognition of the temporariness and triviality of pleasure is best called practical detachment. Detachment from the objective world that springs from the realization of the divine that is one's core can alone be the unshakable victory. Imagine the senses running after joy derivable from the outer world, and the person giving up a few gains. This cannot be recognized as vairagya, detachment. The longing for the experience of sound, touch, sight, taste, and smell for which the senses strive has to be turned inwards. Along with this, the innate fault inherent in every object has to be recognized and remembered. Pleasures that entice man are momentary. The giving up of external struggle is not enough, nor is it a great achievement. The real struggle is internal. The withdrawal of the extrovert senses into the mind and making them ineffective through the exercise of the intellect, or discrimination. Investigate each material object that entices the senses by beauty, fragrance, sweetness, and softness. Realize that these are all momentary, depending on your mental condition, physical health, and emotional balance. Man is enamored of flitting phenomena. He accepts them as valid and valuable. He is entangled in these unrealities and he strays far from the path of liberation. Really, this is not man's goal. When we are drawn towards some source of pleasure, we have to examine it carefully and analyze the pleasure that it promises to give. Imagine that you have longed to eat a particular sweet dish. You have cooked and served it on your plate. You are anticipating all the while the relish it can confer. But while about to place it on the tongue, the cook rushes in and informs you that a lizard had fallen into the vessel in which it was cooked. And so your favorite dish was fouled and poisoned. This creates disgust and your attachment disappears. Every source of pleasure has its limitations. So too, when you examine the quality of the pleasure you hope to derive or the fame you toil to earn, you will certainly blame yourselves for being so serious about them. It may be asked, we build a house for us to live in. Is that not a source of joy? We listen to fine music. Is that not a source of joy? Does it not fill the heart with tenderness? In the same manner, are not these worldly pleasures real? Consider for a moment whether even fine music will give uniform joy if listened to continuously for hours. Even the heavenly musicians, Narada and Tumburu, will tire a listener if they hold forth for too long, however mellifluent their voice. Sweetness too is bound to be disgusting after some mouthfuls. After the limit is reached, every additional mouthful gives less and less pleasure until disgust intervenes. The classical poet-philosopher Bhartrhari asks, how can medicine, resorted to for the sake of curing an illness, be deemed a luxury, a desirable pleasure? Hunger is a disease. Food is the medicine that cures the disease. That is the plain fact, but no one recognizes it and behaves accordingly. They have made it a costly ritual, a futile feast, a fertile source of further disease. For they cater to the whims and fancies of the tongue and behave like slaves of the senses. The king was hunting in the depths of a forest from dawn until early afternoon. He was afflicted by intense thirst. At last he found a hermitage where he took refuge. The inmates gave him cool, clear water to drink. That was the medicine which he needed most. It made him fresh and fine. If the drink intoxicated him, robbed him of reason, and degraded his personality, it causes many other diseases. Discrimination will reveal the dangers lurking in becoming a bond slave of the senses. Born as humans, men grow as beasts. Born as humans, bred among humans and by humans, men grow as wild beasts. Talking of peace among men and nations, they prepare for war and revel in battles. Though human in outer form, they relish demonic hatred in their hearts. Such hypocrites do not deserve your trust. Their speech is sweet, but their hearts are bitter. They declare something as their goal, but they persist in proceeding in the opposite direction. God has endowed man with intelligence and the faculty of discrimination so that he can save himself from this falsehood and visualize the divine. But instead of Deva, God, being the target of activity, Deha, the body, has monopolized the attention of man. Instead of understanding oneself through the proper use of this endowment, each one is engrossed in misunderstanding others through the perverted use of intelligence and discriminative skills. The mirror gifted to you with the injunction, "Son, use this to see thyself," is being held only before others. Buddhi, intellect, is best used as an instrument for self-realization. It is nearest to the Atma in man, but when it is ever busy seeking faults in others, it gets polluted in the process and loses the power of reflecting the majesty, the splendor, and the glory of the Atman which can illumine it. Now the advantage of the adjacent is lost, and Buddhi strays far into the world in search of objective pleasure and sensory satisfaction. If the summum bonum of living is the satisfaction of the senses, the birds and beasts with far less intelligence and much poorer discrimination are equally successful as man, if not more. No, human intelligence has a nobler and higher purpose, the realization of the eternal truth behind all these apparent formations and transformations. The saintly guides of mankind have stressed the special excellence of man's buddhi. They have said that along with humans, all other living beings have the need for food, the yearning for sleep, the protective impulse of fear, and the instinctive urge to reproduce. But they point out to the unique gift that man treasures, jnana, integral wisdom. They declare that the person who does not seek jnana but live as the senses direct is in truth a veritable beast. End of part 1 of 2. Dashara Discourse, September 26th, 1979.